Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Saturday. I was about to say February the 29th. It is in fact Saturday, March the 1st, 2025. Can you believe it? Another month down. Is it just me, or the months and years seem to go a hell of a lot quicker when you sort of get over the 40 mark? Anyway, I know it used to get said when I was a kid and I didn't believe it. Now I believe it. Believe me, I'm 50 now, by the way, so it gets even faster. But anyway, it is fight day. Liam Wilson, Youssef Dib from Queensland, and going to be a good card. I'll go through the whole card in a second. I've got a few other things I want to go through first. But I did say yesterday that I was surprised that Liam Wilson and his team had taken this fight with Youssef Dib. I didn't really see the sense in it or anything that could possibly propel his career. I thought it was a sideways move, if not a backwards move, to fight Youssef Dib. But looks like I've been proven wrong, because by all accounts yesterday I read that he is in line to fight O'Shaquie Foster if he gets past his fight for the WBC 130-pound title. Now, just a couple of questions with that is that Liam Wilson, it's great that if he gets a shot, by the way. I think it'd be awesome for him to get another opportunity. The question I have is that he's officially gone up to lightweight. This will be his second fight at lightweight. Hasn't won a fight at 130 since he lost to Valdez, and all of a sudden he's going to be thrown into a WBC 130-pound title fight. So, hey, I'm not going to try and even understand the rankings and the way they work. All I will say is, if that is the case, then I hope that Liam Wilson gets his shot, because, geez, you can beat all the contenders. And look at someone like Joseph Parker, who's just beaten contender after contender after contender, still got to keep fighting his way through it. And you get a fighter. I'm not just picking on Liam Wilson here. I'm just using him as an example. You got a guy who lost a couple of world title fights, then moves up in weight, beats someone that's not ranked in the world, any of the top 15s of any of the sanctioning bodies, and then gets offered a world title fight at the lower weight year or year and a half, whatever it's been, since he actually left the division. So only in boxing, that's the WBC. But again, I'm not picking on Liam here. I think it's fantastic, and if he does get the opportunity, I'm just using him as an example of how just unpredictable the sanctioning bodies are. But let's hope he gets a shot. They are talking about doing the fight in Australia, which would be even better in Queensland. I think it'd be great for Liam. He's been to, well, let's just say the Lion's Den in Arizona for those two fights with Navarrete and Valdez, and I was at the Valdez fight, and I can tell you, a very, very hard to win there. 99.99% of the people there were screaming their lungs out for Valdez. Very, very popular fighter, and they did not take to Liam very well at all. And I thought he did so well, considering that he had probably 10,000 people screaming for his blood. And we know what the Mexican fans are like. They love their fighters and their warriors. And it was a tough night for Liam. But let's hope he gets that shot. That's the WBC 130-pound title, and O'Shaquie Foster. Tough fight for Liam. But hey, you got to be in it to win it. He showed against Navarrete that he's capable. So yeah, let's see what happens. It was only sort of leaked yesterday. Apparently, George Rose. This is just. I'll preempt this also by saying, or put an asterisk on it to say, that it was written by Peter Bedell and Brendan Bradford, not the most reliable writers out there. I'm not sure. George Rose didn't even really comment on this, by the way. He refused to comment on it. So I don't know where they've got their information from, but they've run with it. Wouldn't have been the first time they've run with something without sort of knowing the facts. So let's just wait and see, but let's hope it is the case. As I said, I'll get to the whole card in a second. I wanted to get to a couple of other things. Now, this is just something I read this morning. Now, this was posted by a pretty prominent figure well, I won't say prominent figure, but it's someone that's been around a long, long time. Lincoln Hudson, the trainer. He's also been a referee back in the day. I remember him refereeing me as an amateur 30 years ago, but he's been a very, very prominent trainer over the years and knows his stuff, very, very well connected. Well, Lincoln has shared a post this morning on Facebook. It was written by Fight Asia, that the opponent of Tyson Pedro a couple of days ago, whatever it was guaranteed a 60,000 US purse, and it has been reneged. Now, I'm not saying this is 100% fact. This is just an article by Fight News, and Lincoln shared it, so I'm just telling you what I've read. Now, there's always two sides to the story, so I'm just going to say that as well. But what they're reporting is that he was promised, or in the contract, 60,000 US purse, and he has not been paid, and apparently has been told he will not be paid. So, and apparently there was a Thai fighter on the undercard as well who was knocked out, who wasn't paid either. Now, look, who knows? There might have been a hold up in transferring the money but from what I'm sort of reading into it, is that what they're saying is they haven't, or they have been told that they just will not be paid. Now, let's hope that's wrong, because that's a bad look for Australian boxing. It really is. So again, I just want to wait and see what the other side has to say. I'm hoping there's a very, very good explanation of why he hasn't been paid. But when you've got a major sort of publication for boxing in the Asian region saying this, it is not a good sign. So let's again hope I am wrong, and one of those stay tuned sort of situations. But geez, I hope. I'm not quite sure who. They did actually mention who the promoters was. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was on Stan a couple of days ago, wasn't it? Yeah, it was on Wednesday night, I think, wasn't it? Or Tuesday, whatever it was. Doesn't matter. But yeah, that is what's being reported there. And if Lincoln Hudson has reposted it, you would think he would know a little bit more about it. So let's stay tuned on that one. And again, hopefully I am wrong. Now, I've talked a little bit about the Chris Eubank Chris Eubank Jr. Conor Benn fight this week, egg gate and everything else, and the face-offs and the sledges either way. Well, apparently it's worked, whatever they've done, because it's a sellout. 63,000 people the stadium holds. 60,000 tickets have been sold, and the other 2,000 or 3,000, I think, were packages and all this other stuff that they will sell, that have already been lined up to have been sold. So apparently it was front page, it was back page, it was all over the place, and it is work. Look, the odds are it would have been a sellout anyway, but I think Eddie Hearn, even though he got stuck into Chris Eubank Jr. about what he did, the fact that it's been reported so heavily, I think has obviously helped it. It will help it sell out a lot quicker. So tickets are on sale for like 48 hours or whatever it is, and it is sold out. This is why, ladies and gentlemen, we need big fights in England and the US. I've said it again, or I will say it again. I've said it in the past. I love what they're doing in Saudi Arabia, but for me, it still lacks soul. It still lacks, as the English would say, the bollocks of a big fight card. And as much as they want to stack the cards, nothing beats 60,000 in the UK and 20,000 screaming Mexican fans at a Canelo fight. I'm sorry, nothing beats it, and I will not be convinced otherwise. Now, being a TV viewer, okay, probably doesn't matter. We just watch it from back here and sort of create our own atmosphere. But having been to fights featuring the likes of Canelo and Pacquiao and these types of guys, nothing beats a live crowd that's packed out. So anyway, just my little 2 cents there. So yeah, as I said, whatever they've done has. And we all know about another big card in May, which is the Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez card in Times Square. Well, they've just added another fight, a third fight, which I think will be the best one of the lot, and that is Teofimo Lopez, Arnold Barboza Jr. That is a ripper fight, and that just really tops the card off well. That's 3 really, really good fights, and risky fights for all those concerned. Well, Lopez is obviously doing the mandatory against Barboza, but Garcia against Romero, well, maybe arguable, it's risky. You'd think Garcia wins that fight comfortably, but Haney Ramirez is definitely a risky fight. But geez, that's a really, really good card in Times Square. I'm not sure who will be or what will be the order. I'm assuming it will be Garcia as the main event against Romero. Geez, who's next up? What fight should be second? I think actually, if I'm being honest, I think Lopez and Barboza should be the main event, but I'm thinking it might be even third down the ladder, and they'll put Haney against Ramirez second, because of course they want to build up the the Haney, Garcia, all these Latin names. It's hard to get your head around sometimes, but you would think that, yeah, Garcia and Ramiro will be the main event. Haney and Ramirez will be the co-main, and then Lopez, strangely enough, against Barboza will be third on the bill. So I think it should be flipped. But as I said, they're going to try and build up that Garcia and Haney rematch for later in the year. But that is a really, really good event. And it's on the same weekend. Actually, I'm not sure whether that still is, but Inoue was going to be fighting that weekend. Maybe it's late April or whatever it might be. But regardless, it looks like his opponent for that date, whether it's late April, early May in Las Vegas, David Picasso, has pulled out. Now, strangely enough, it's being attributed to Eric Morales, the Mexican great, who's got in Picasso's ear and said, mate, I don't think you're ready for Inoue. And that's really strange, where you get someone that pulls out of a fight because they don't think they're ready. I mean, he's one of the top-ranked fighters in the division. He's had 28 fights or 26 fights or something like that. That is bizarre. But he has pulled out apparently now. The strangest thing out of all of that, though, is they're talking about 3 replacements, and I had it somewhere, but I can't remember who they were. I know Akhmadaliev was one of them. I think Brian Mercado was the other one. I can't remember who the third one was. So 3 fighters being put up as a potential replacement for David Picasso to fight Inoue. But where's Sam Goodman? Not even a mention of Sam Goodman being in the mix. Now, by the time that fight comes around, it would have been 3.5 months after the second fight should have taken place. So maybe that cut is a lot worse than is expected, or maybe the fact that he's just not on the radar anymore. But can you believe that he's not even being mentioned as a possible replacement for David Picasso, when Picasso was sort of brought in as sort of one of the replacements for Sam Goodman? So, yeah, that is truly bizarre. But Sam Goodman not in the conversation to fight Inoue in that Las Vegas date. So Inoue apparently still wants to stick to his 4 fights for 2025, which is why they're going to be desperate to find someone. Being the fight still, what is it, 2 months away? Obviously they'll find somebody, but that is really strange that they've put up 3 fights. Look, again, this is just third-party people, reporters, people supposedly in the know that have put up these 3 names, by the way. So maybe Sam Goodman would be in the mix, but yeah, in the article that I read, he wasn't mentioned, and I think they're talking about Akhmadaliev being the front runner, but whether or not they want to save him for later in the year for one of the Riyadh cards, and they put in Mercado or one of those types of guys in, who knows? But very, very strange proceedings. Now, this weekend, I haven't really mentioned it at all during the week, but Gervonta Tank Davis will fight Lamont Roach for the lightweight title, the WBA version. The reason I haven't really spoken about it, because what is there to talk about? I think we all know that Gervonta Davis will probably wipe the floor with Lamont Roach, probably stop him in 7 or 8 rounds, maybe earlier. In my opinion, it'll just be a non-event. So the undercard looks okay. They're looking forward to Venezuela up against Gary Russell. That'll be a pretty good fight. I think Russell's a good chance to actually beat Valenzuela in that fight, but let's stick with the champion in that one. But I'm not sure I'll be watching it. It's $70 on main event. That's about $60 too much if you're asking me. But the reason I'm bringing it up is Davis, strangely enough, has found a way to bring in our man, George Kambosos. He mentioned that George Kambosos is one of the worst lightweight champions he's seen, worse than Dennis Berechuk. And one person you do not antagonize on social media is George Kambosos Jr., because he is, for me, the undisputed champion when it comes to Twitter or X or whatever it's called. And he got, I won't read out the whole thing, but pretty much, in my opinion, really getting the points over Davis. Because Davis, look, it might have been a throwaway line. I don't even know how it came up. I didn't watch the whole press conference, but I did see the comments in return. And George, look, he made some great points. He did say that in the space of 2.5 years, George fought Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney twice, and Vasily Lomachenko. Probably all Hall of Famers, potentially. We'll see. Definitely Lomachenko is. but all in the pound for pound list, all that sort of stuff, and he fought them all. Okay, didn't get the results. I think he pointed that out as well, but he fought them all. He said, where's your pound for pound fighters, or your top 10 fighters? Where's your Hall of Famers you're fighting? And I don't think Davis would have had a comeback. I'm not sure if he actually did come back to George, but that is the ultimate slapback or clapback, if you're Oscar De La Hoya, from George Kambosos. Now, doesn't matter whether you think Gervonta Davis would beat George Kambosos. The fact is that George definitely got the better of him in this one. And even it was interesting reading on a lot of overseas sites. I know we're going to get the same old from the Aussie fans, but it was interesting to read the comments from American sites, all in agreement with George Kambosos. Yeah, 99% of them thought that Davis would knock Kambosos out, but all in agreement that Tank Davis just has not done enough when it comes to his legacy. Fights very, very rarely, and when he does, to these types of guys. I mean, Frank Martin, yeah, talented, I suppose, but just not one of those high shelf type of guys. Lamont Roach is a 130 pounder. With so many really good 135 pounders out there at the moment, and this is the best he can do. That's the thing I don't like about Tank Davis. And as always, George Kambosos has pointed it out, and in my opinion, got the better of Tank Davis. So I'm not sure there's going to be a fight at any stage between the two. I would think that George now obviously at 140. You never know, he might go down to 135, but it'll be interesting to see what Tank Davis comes back with. And one thing about Tank Davis as well, I was just going to say, he did say also that he's not interested in the Saudi money. He said there's more things to it than just money. He's not going to bow down and kiss the ring. And he had a crack at Oscar and Canelo Alvarez for basically kissing the ring after they said they wouldn't. He did point out that Turki Al Sheikh was rubbing his hands together about Canelo Alvarez, about blowing his show out of the water last year, the Belunga fight, and it didn't happen, of course. And then a couple of months later, they're breaking bread, and now they're best buddies. So, look, he does keep it real, Gervonta Davis, but I'm not sure it's going to do him any favours if he wants some of that Saudi money down the track. Of course, there's going to be some fighters that hold out, but if Turkey comes to him and offers him $10 million or $15 million or something to fight Shakur Stevenson, I think we all know he's going to take that money. So anyway, more to play out in that. Now, one more thing before I get to the Liam Wilson card. I don't know what's going on with the heavyweight division at the moment, but a lot of shenanigans happening because Joe Joyce was supposed to fight Patrick Corte this weekend, has pulled out a couple of days beforehand. A mysterious illness once again. But his fight with Dillian White will still go ahead in a couple of months' time. He's just feeling a little bit ill at the moment. So you make of that what you will. Oh, I don't know. All right, let's get into this fight card. I'm going to bring it up. All right, so just a couple of prelims. We've got Jazia, I won't even try and pronounce that, against Dillian White. We've got Shannon Davey against Sultama Manuel. We've got Kira Rustin against Muhammad Naviz. Goes all right, does Kira Rustin. Then into sort of the main card. So we've got Vegas Larfield. He's 11-1 against Ji Ming Lee, 6-1. You would expect Vegas Larfield to make short work of him. Then we've got the girls, Nicola Costello, 5-4-1. She'll fight Brianna Harrison, who's 2-1. It's sometimes really hard to pick the girls. I don't really know much about Harrison. I've seen Costello a few times. She has a bit of a crack, so that should be a good one there. Then we're into Jack Bowen, really good young prospect, 10-1. He'll fight Abul Kahir Shagaliev. I don't know why they bring these fighters in. I can't pronounce the names. He's 9-1-1. Should be a pretty good scrap, but you'd think Jack Bowen will get that one. I don't know anything about his opponent, but I'm going to back Jack Bowen, who, apart from that one hiccup against Reynold Quinlan, is a very, very good fighter and could do some good things going forward. Floyd Masson, I really like Floyd Masson, 14-2. He's up against Austin Namadi, who is 11-4. Good to see Floyd Masson back. Look, he's limited in certain ways, but he always turns up and has a crack, does Floyd. So let's hope he gets the win there. Then the fight I'm looking forward to the most, it's a lightweight fight. Jalen Tate, 16-1, up against John Manu, 14-1-1. That will be 10 rounds for the IBF Pan Pacific Super Lightweight title. Now, I'm going to back John Manu to win that fight. He's a very slick young guy, boxes well. Not a big puncher, but he can punch. Jalen Tate's got all the tools, but I just think John Manu can get the job done over Jalen Tate. Either way, it should be a ripper fight. And then into the main event, we have, of course, Liam Wilson, if I can find him here. There it is. Liam Wilson, 14-3. Can you believe he's only had 17 fights? Very strange. He's up against Youssef Dib, who's 21-2. You would think that Liam Wilson repeats the dose, especially with a big fight on the line with Sharky Foster, and I think he stops. No, actually, I don't think he stops Youssef Dib this time. I think Youssef Dib fights a lot smarter than he did in the first fight. A little bit more cagey. He did have success against Liam Wilson last time, remember? I thought he fought really, really well until he got careless and got caught. So I'm going to think that he boxes a little bit more conservatively this time, and gives Liam a little bit more to think about. But I don't think it'll be enough. I think Liam Wilson wins a clear, unanimous decision over Youssef Dib this time, and then hopefully sets up that world title shot. So if you're in the Bendigo region, make sure you call into the British and American Hotel. I'm showing the fight live on the big 100-inch screen TV, so make sure you come and say good day and get a brisket or pulled pork sandwich or something while you're there. It should be a good night. So guys, that's going to do it. Have a great Saturday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.